Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at some Ulanzi lights. I also have a phone cage that I actually use for my production in terms of these videos. It's literally just a phone holder and it has loads of cold shoe mounts on the top that you can basically mount lights, microphones, things like that to. What I'll do is I'll insert a little video clip of that somewhere around here. But in this video, what I wanted to do was concentrate on some of their other products, and namely some of their LED lights that I've actually purchased. And this was the first one that I actually purchased. So this is literally just a white light, and you have your temperature control. So you go from all the way warm white all the way to cool white. This one, and that's basically on its lowest setting. And as you can see, you can crank it. Let me just turn it to cool white, and you can crank it right up, and obviously it gets pretty bright. On the back of it is USB-C, and you have 4 dots for your charge indication basically. Now this I've been using in a lot of my recent videos, especially the ones where I've had accent lighting in order to light whatever the subject is. Right now I'm actually making this video in front of a bay window, so I've got loads of natural light flooding in, so I don't actually need that at the moment. Now these ones are the ones that I've actually received recently. These ones I ordered from AliExpress because I couldn't actually find these on Amazon. This one was actually purchased from Amazon, so I'll put a link for that in the description below. If I can find these at the time of me posting this video, I will add a link to these. But these ones, these are basically, so just coming in again, the model number of this one is, I believe, VL81. And the reason I like all of these lights is because they have internal batteries. It's not AA or AAA batteries that you've got to swap out. They all charge via USB-C. I've got, obviously, with my Rode Wireless Go, I got 2 pretty decent USB-C cables in terms of length, and basically that's what I use whenever I'm charging these up. So whenever I've made a couple of videos, usually I end up having to charge up microphones. So once I've done those, I just swap it out and chuck these on charge. Now with this one, as you'll see, so I've made a couple of videos today with regards to the iPhone unboxing, as well as the MagSafe unboxing as well. So I've done both of those videos today, and this is the third video that essentially I'm doing. Obviously you'll be seeing these on different days, but if we just look at the charge status on this one, so this one's dropped down to 3 bars, and I had this pretty much not really in use because of how much natural light I was actually getting. I only used it for maybe 2 to 3 minutes max. Now these ones, I've had these ones on for probably a couple of hours at least, and if I switch this one on, as you can see from just there, the battery indicator on both of these is still showing pretty much full. So the battery life on this particular model, the VL49 RGB, so the VL49s I believe you can find quite easily on Amazon. It's the RGB models that basically are a bit harder to get. So just taking a look at the milliamp hour, this one is actually 3000 milliamp hour. These ones are both 2000 milliamps, but these to me seem like they actually last a lot longer, just from my personal usage so far. Obviously these are full RGB, so the way that the RGB works, if I just switch it on, so it's very simple to use. Let me just try and get that to focus. So I'll show you before, because obviously it'll blow out the video. So along here you have a little indicator in terms of what the code relates to in terms of color. So when you actually switch it on, let me turn the brightness down, and then hopefully that should help a little. So if I turn that all the way down, okay, so now you should be able to see it. So as you can see, whilst you're on this particular mode, that's your brightness control. If you hold this, it switches to white, and then what you can do is obviously use your arrow keys to cycle between cool white all the way 9000 Kelvin all the way down to, I believe it's 3.5, which is a very, well, even lower, 2500 Kelvin. So that's a really nice warm white. I usually, for lighting subjects and things like that, I usually leave it around the 6000 Kelvin, which is just a neutral kind of daylight kind of color. So as I say, if you hold this mode button, you switch between color and white, and basically it'll remember whatever settings you had in there as well. So you can switch between them. So that's your brightness percentage, and this is your color, whatever color you're choosing essentially. So if we just switch it on to, let's see where you'll actually, yeah, probably about there. So 3% is enough to actually get some color. So as you can see, it's on one degree at the moment. So 1, as you can see, is basically red. And as I cycle through, what you'll see is it changes color. So at the moment we're on 93, which is just around there on the scale. So if we take this to 120, we should be getting a pretty pure, vivid kind of green color. And then as you go along, obviously you can mix it and it'll turn more teal, and then it'll become more blue. 240 is basically blue, and then you blend into a little bit of purple. The one thing about this one, it doesn't seem to have a lot in the purple scale. Obviously from red to blue, your scale is kind of limited there. But the performance that I've gotten out of these so far, I'm incredibly impressed by. So what I'll do is, let me just, so that one's set to blue at the moment. So essentially what I've been using these for is, in my recent videos, I've actually been using them, and I can't remember if it cycles all the way through. Yeah, it does. So let's just take this right back to a pure red. So there we have a pure red, and then we'll crank the brightness up to 100. See, on this one, I wouldn't really use it on 100% because the battery dies out so quickly. These ones, as I say, I've had a couple of hours, maybe more, of usage out of these already. And as you can see, whenever you're doing these kind of product shots, essentially it's giving you a very nice look. And if you were to mount this and have some sort of a product shot, I have seen quite a lot of videos where they do this sort of effect where they basically, rather than the item moving or the camera moving, they literally just move the light, and basically get a very cinematic type of look to the product shots. So that's basically what I've been using these for so far. And considering the price of these, what I'll do is I'll chuck up on screen in terms of what I've actually paid for these. I did actually post these on my, I think it was on my Twitter feed recently. I was that impressed by this particular product. Now, not everything that I've bought from Ulanzi has been great. The actual cage that I mentioned that I use to hold the phone and everything, I've actually changed that slightly. So I've got another one coming, so I will do a video on that one once it arrives. But this particular one, the biggest drawback with it is it's a plastic cage, and because of that, once you actually mount lights and things onto it, it tends to flex quite a bit. Also, the part that actually holds the phone isn't the best. As I say, I'll make a dedicated video comparing the two once that one actually arrives. But in terms of this particular light, yes, you do have to charge it quite regularly. But what I tend to do is, whenever I've used it, say in a couple of videos, I think the drop off is very similar to some other products where it'll drop down from 4 to 3 to 2 very quickly, and then maybe from 2 to 1 and 1 to 0. It does seem to last a bit longer. But these ones so far, as I say, I'm very, very impressed by. Like, they've not even dropped down from the top reading yet. And as you can see, this is with daylight coming in from the window. So if I try and compete with that, as you can see, they are very bright, especially for any dark scenes where basically I've got the curtains closed, or if it's at night, then these do give off a really rich sort of color that you can basically just accent your videos with. Also, this isn't for everybody. This is more for creators and photographers, people like that. Somebody who maybe wants some accent lighting just to be mounted. Now, the one slight drawback that I've noticed with all of these type of lights is obviously the mounting setup here is it's to click into your cold shoe mount, and then you literally just screw that down to secure it. And what you can do with all of these is, because they have additional mounts on them, essentially you can mount them up in some really kind of strange ways, and you could end up with like some sort of really massive contraption where you've got loads of light. And essentially, if you needed to, what you could also do is, obviously, if one light isn't enough, and say for example you're shooting something outdoors, if one light isn't quite enough, what you can actually do is mount all of these together, maybe a few more, and then obviously set them all to the same color temperature, and that way you've got a nice balanced light coming out of all three. And basically, obviously, you can go sideways as well. I wouldn't probably do that, because it's gonna become quite unbalanced. But I think the biggest kind of drawback on this is maybe the mounting angle. So they don't actually have any type of structure to actually pivot mechanism to actually tilt the lights up and down or left and right and things like that. So I think that's probably the only thing that I would say is possibly lacking. I know you can get aftermarket adapters and things that you mount in and then you mount this onto there, but for the sake of trying to keep it as cheap as possible, as well as keeping it as quick as possible rather than having to go into multiple mounts and undoing several things, it would have been good if there was something built into these, similar to like what you get on work lights, head torches, where basically it has a sort of tilt mechanism built in. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I'm so impressed by these lights in particular. This one, it does its job. It's good enough for what it sets out to do, and obviously you have got a very diffused light as well, so whilst they are very bright, it isn't something where you then need another softbox light or something over the top of it. It does diffuse the light quite well, but obviously you do need to keep control of the brightness levels as well, because in a couple of my videos I noticed it was almost impossible for me not to stop it blowing out because of how bright everything was in the scene, and because obviously it's mounted so close, it's literally right above the camera when I'm mounting it in this way. So because of that, obviously you do need to be a little bit careful with that. But yeah, other than that, very impressed by all three of these products. And yeah, I'll be posting links down in the description below, so for anybody out there who's maybe doing any type of amateur photography, videography, anything like that, or possibly who has a YouTube channel or is thinking about starting a YouTube channel, this is a perfect tool in order to help you basically just up the level of your videos a little bit, just because of the fact that obviously you don't always get these kind of conditions. I mean, at the moment we only have something like maybe 6 hours of actual daylight, so in terms of squeezing videos in, you do end up having to record 2 or 3 on a single day if you're gonna try and do it with natural light. So for that reason, obviously things like these, where it will give you a very controlled setting, and it gives you a lot of control over moods and lighting effects, it's pretty much a priceless tool for anybody that's looking to do that. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you have enjoyed the video, obviously do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell as well, that way you don't miss out on any new videos that are up and coming, and do remember to actually enable notifications on your device, otherwise you won't actually get notified whenever I post a new video. Other than that, thanks very much for watching.